Many Flesh and Blood players ask the question, are any of the round the table cards good in Classic Constructed?
Oh!
What? What's wrong with that?
That's not what we wrote, man.
That's what people are asking.
Just do it how we wrote it. Just do it how we wrote it, okay?
It's a dumb one. Many Flesh and Blood players ask the question, are there going to be reprints of Enlightened Strike and Art of War in the Round the Table products from LSS? That's what they're asking.
That's not what we're doing for this video.
I get to play a bard now!
Are we getting foils in the Blitz packs this time?
What?
Are we gonna get a Classic Constructed version of Bard? Why is there one playmat for 4 people?
Those are not things people are asking.
Guardian boots!
Stop!
Does the Ira deck have a handicap because it's supposed to go to new players? What is Melody's win condition?
I don't care.
What if all of my other players are good players? Who does the Ira deck go to?
None of those are the right questions.
Okay, well, what is it? What is the right question for Flesh and Blood players to ask about UPF? To kick off September, Legend Story Studios announced a 4-player Ultimate Pit Fight product known as Round the Table in collaboration with Tolarian Community College. TCC, as I'm going to call it, is hosted by the Professor, your main creator there, and it's a YouTube channel that specializes in the social experiences that happen when you play games around the table, specifically focusing on Magic the Gathering and the Commander format. So they collaborated with him and said, hey, we want you to do that for Flesh and Blood. We want you to create that experience for Flesh and Blood, all about having fun in the Flesh and Blood. That's the mission statement of Legend Story Studios of sorts. But anyway, so it's really cool that they did something like that. However, I have a couple of thoughts. One of the things that I learned with Genesis specifically, one of the most important lessons I learned is the things that makes you a fan don't exactly make you great from the business and design side of things. And I feel like this is a casualty of that kind of understanding. Not to knock the Professor in the slightest. I think he's great. I've had a chance to meet him in person, albeit very, very briefly. But I love his vibe and love what he does. I love what he does. But I don't think that this product hits the mark the ways that it needed to, specifically because, and here's kind of where my bit comes in, it didn't exactly ask the right questions. And I want to spend this video talking about what I feel the right questions are, and also why I feel the UPF format has never really popped off, and why we need to stop treating it like just some other offshoot of Commander. It needs to be treated a little bit differently. And I'm going to kind of show you why, and show you how the Round the Table product quite literally shows exactly what the problems with the format are when it's translated into Flesh and Blood mechanics. So buckle up. Yeah, we're going to see how this goes. This might be a couple of takes, by the way, like some cuts, just because I got Buffy over there. She's sleeping. She's going to wake up any moment. And yeah, that's just pretty much how life works. And I really want to get this out because there's a lot of, oh my gosh, greatest thing ever. And I'm like, but is it though? And anytime I do any sort of like LSS, maybe should rethink a couple of things, it tends to get a little bit rocky. So I want to try to be as articulate as I can here. So yeah, we're gonna do that. But that's what we've got. Yeah. For this to kick it off, we're going to do ourselves a 10-minute timer. That's what we're going to try for at least, see how that goes. And also for the beer, I figure we'll go for something that I'm probably going to be right now, which is just a little White Rascal. That's going to be me. Belgian-style white ale from Avery, which is one of my favorite beers. This is a good, hilariously enough also, this is actually a good starter beer. For people who are not really like big fans of craft, but they're like, I wouldn't mind trying it. This is usually a beer that I get them into, so it's actually kind of fitting for the Ultimate Pit Fight format. So really quickly, let's talk about Ultimate Pit Fight and my feelings regarding why I don't think it pops off, because this is the most important aspect of it, and then I want to get into the product itself. So first off, cheers everybody, cheers. All right. First quick correction, just because it's I introduced the beer, I'm gonna have some because I just probably won't get to it. Restarting the timer. All right, class. So what's the question that I do wish LSS and Flesh and Blood players asked when it came to Ultimate Pit Fight? It's this. What exactly makes Commander fun? And do the mechanics for Flesh and Blood create a similar experience when translated to that format? I'm going to suggest that the answer to that is it does not create a similar experience because of how few boxes it checks when it's actually compared to what makes Commander fun, what makes that experience fun. Fab isn't Magic. We've been trying to say that for ages. And Ultimate Pit Fight isn't Commander. However, the only innovation that Fab has made to a format to just bring multiple people at the table, like what Commander does, is I can only attack left and right because then the game gets kind of busted. You gotta do a little bit better than that if you don't want me to treat you like you're just the same game. And I don't think it works that way anyway. The biggest concern that I have and why I don't think that Flesh and Blood translates very well is the mechanics of Fab don't naturally lend to the kind of social experience that makes, honestly, most games fun. Now, first off, you're going to notice that I say the word social as opposed to casual. Casual is a mindset. It's a frame of mind going in my opinion, and I don't want to confuse that. I can go to a highly competitive event in Colorado where we all know each other and we're having fun, and it will feel very casual because we all just interact well. The issue that Flesh and Blood has been dealing with as far as like new players and that casual versus competitive is, do I want people who are actively like trying to win, or do I want the social experience of just kind of goofing around and trying things and not being so heads down? That's a social experience for me. That's how I want to. That's how I'm going to classify that. Somebody introduced me to it. I forgot who. I loved it. So social experience. And it's in the social experiences that looking at Commander and the things that make them great, or that make it a great game, and looking at other games and what make them great social experiences. Fab struggles. This doesn't translate. And I think the biggest and the most important one is the fact that there's no communal board state for everyone to look at and react to and evolve with. There's a reason that in poker, 5-card draw kind of got overtaken in popularity by communities and friends with Texas Hold'em, because there's a communal board state that everybody can look at and be like, we can react to this. Magic is the same, where it's building up a board state of, I don't like that creature's there. Hey guys, we should deal with that. You don't get that in Flesh and Blood because the game simply deals in moments. In a, I think, unreleased Ultimate Pit Fight with Go Again Gaming and Team, I died like turn 2 to a 13-dominated Falcon Wing. It was just in his hand. It was in his hand, and it was like, I have the capacity to kill you right now. There is nothing on the table that would suggest that was ever coming. It's just what I have in my hand because my hand refreshes every turn. I get to start strong, and maybe I'll struggle later, but like, you're dead. Nothing to react to. Okay, that was fun, you guys. That was neato torpedo. I'm gonna go walk away and be terrible. That's not really a thing. And then just like that, the moment's over. And you know, Az could very well be, he was the one who killed me. Az could very well just be back to nothing, or he could regain that same level of power and he suddenly becomes a threat. But the likelihood of that is dim. Meanwhile, there's 2 other people at the table who are, yes, laughing at my misfortune, and, you know, the only thing that's really changed is that I'm gone. But this isn't really an experience that is any different than me just looking at 2 people play a game and watching some massive attack happen. The game has not really changed outside of I'm no longer there. There's nothing to react to of, oh, you dropped a bomb, that's a thing. Oh man, we should all probably deal with that. It's, wow, he got a good hand. Now he has a whole new hand. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. It doesn't. That's not a similar experience. That is nowhere close to the kinds of fun and thrilling moments that Commander brings. And again, I'm going to bring this full circle into stuff that I would like to see and things that I feel these lessons can teach us. But the second thing that I really want to touch up on is the fact that politics in Ultimate Pit Fight are proactive, not reactive. And you can tell this immediately by taking a look at the Round the Table product and looking at the fact that Brevant does not do much unless he is proactively creating a political situation. He's proactively helping others and forcing that conversation as opposed to needing to have one because we're all afraid of something. Same with Melody. Melody just forces the conversation because everything she does naturally helps everyone. And I'm really worried about what she actually gets for herself, but we're going to talk about that problem in just a sec. This is another one of those, like, this is a missed opportunity, or I should say this is just a difference in how the games translate that I don't feel Flesh and Blood and LSS has really picked up on, and instead just threw people at a table and hoped we would figure it out. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. It's just not as interesting as Commander, or honestly, any board game at all, really. And I'd like to see LSS appreciate that and move into a territory of how do we make the Ultimate Pit Fight product great, really shine? How do we make that format something people want to go to, as opposed to what I feel Around the Table is going to do, which is make people feel obligated to try it like once or twice and then never really touch it again. That's kind of what I see happening, because that's what I feel like Ultimate Pit Fight has been so far. Hey, have you tried Ultimate Pit Fight? Yeah, I did, because it was there. I felt like I should have. Oh, okay. Did you try it? No, not really. No, I didn't really want to. Nothing's really exciting and nothing really entices people, I feel, to do that unless you have niche communities. And that gets into the whole idea that if you have those who would have loved this, they didn't need this $70 Round the Table product in the first place. So let's talk about the product itself and what I feel like LSS could do and should do to really make Ultimate Pit Fight freaking shine and freaking pop in some really cool ways. So let's take this thing piece by piece, deck by deck, and I will start with the one that actually seems like it'd be fun towards what I'm looking for as far as building up a board state, which is Teklavos, and I'm just going to say Professor, because I love the Evo armor. I cannot wait for the Evo armor, and I really wish that there was some mechanic in the game that the Evo armor can go into any deck, because that's a board state. That's a build-up moment where everybody can look and be like, Teklavos, Professor's got 3 pieces of Evo gear. We need to deal with that, and that is something that's building up. Like, he's getting into critical mass mode. He's got to, we got to deal with that, and that's something Mech has always been good at. They are the only ones who, in fact, build up and evolve over time, as opposed to just get torn down and get weaker. I love this one. This is it. That's it. As far as like, hey, build up, because I know that like my turn 8 could be wildly different than my turn 2 because I'm building towards something awesome. Who looked at Melody? Who looked at Melody and said, whenever you play this song, whenever you play a song, create a copy. Let's see if this works. Whenever you play a song, create copper tokens equal to the number of other heroes in the game. Oh man, you're thinking copper, 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 copper. And you see this thing that says she'll have everyone around the table singing along. Great performance must come to an end, and Melody's final act is sure to leave the crowd speechless. Oh man, we've been building copper this whole game. And then you look at final act and it has absolutely nothing to do with copper. It has nothing to do with the one thing that she's actually good at doing for herself. It has nothing. Like, super late editing, Joe. So I've kind of thought and heard about Final Act, and the idea is that you're basically just pitching like crazy to coppers, and then it's really your pitch zone that's going to end up doing the work. So like I got maybe Final Act and Arsenal, and I pitched like 12 for the Arsenal to the copper. So I've got 4 in the pitch zone, maybe a 5th one for to actually use Final Act, and suddenly I've got an 11 for 1, and then I bring it back. Like okay, I understand and I get that. I kind of wish maybe it was done a little bit better, but I at least understand what it was trying to do. I also think it's one of those, like, you kind of have to set yourself up for failure in order to really make that work, and it is kind of the one thing that she's capable of doing at the moment. So, I don't know, I feel like that could have done a little better, but I at least understand, okay, she is in fact building up to something. There is sort of a state of sorts. So I'll give it a little bit of credit for that, but I do feel I feel like it could have done a little better, but I at least understand what she's doing now. And I have to ask whether or not the reason this is the case is because this would have been busted in a normal format if you leverage the whole building up copper thing. I'm just going to sneak in high strikers and go nuts. And this is where I feel one of the issues is I wish that some of these were UPF only. But I'm going to get into that. It's going to be my last little point. But like, who looked at Melanie and said, man, all this stuff is great, building copper, and then nothing. It doesn't mean, now that we've seen, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Like, why? That's no fun. I have to wonder, what is her actual win condition other than stick around until she stops being useful and then everyone just beats her to shit? Because that's what I feel is kind of all that's there. That's frustrating. Same with Brevant. Brevant is, I'm going to protect the living daylights out of everybody. Lay down the law is cute and all, neat, but I'm going to protect everybody. This is forced, proactive politics. I have no use whatsoever. Whenever you protect another hero, create a might token. And you can have chivalry, which protects other people. Okay, what's your win condition? The only reason he exists is to force politics in. This is the flesh and blood issue, because there's nothing to fear on the table. All you can do is create these cards that have no value unless you interact. That's a problem. That's something that I would like to be switched. That's something I would like to be worked on a little bit. And then there's Ira. There's Ira. Hey, we got a new welcome deck. We're bringing in Ira. I'm a little worried about this Ira because they said, like, hey, give it to the least experienced player at the table. And I'm like, is that because this has a handicap? And at this point, the only two people who I think can win this product is Professor, or, is Teklevasan and Ira, and the other two are just there for show. Like, but again, why is this, what makes that exactly a fun experience? I'm going to have to give myself a little bit more time. But I don't know exactly what makes this a fun experience as is, outside of you proactively forced interaction, but that's just putting a spotlight on the problems with the game, not necessarily making them all that fun. Going into extra innings, what would I like to see from a format like Ultimate Pit Fight? How do I feel like Flesh and Blood can check more of those boxes that makes Commander fun and make it so people who play competitive or play just kind of the normal game, not just feel excited, not just I want to play this more, but are genuinely captivated by what the experience can bring, because I don't think anything they put out really does that. And it's give me insanity. Give me Ultimate Pit Fight only absolute nonsense. Give me cards that say if Teklevasan is wearing 4 pieces of Evo gear, he turns into a juggernaut that everybody can attack until he suddenly can't, and he's a massive problem. Give me, I don't know, a copper cannon or something. Give me something where Melody's copper means something and everybody can look and be like, she's got 30 copper, guys. We got to deal with this. This could very well be a problem. Give me something for characters that is just so nuts that, yeah, I could definitely play. I can play my CC deck and stuff like that, or I can also be like, it sounds really fun though. I want to try to make that juggernaut work. That's just so bonkers, and I won't get to have that experience in another format. Give me if you're attacked, play this and you draw 3 cards. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. Now, good job attacking him with that card. Good, thanks. Now we're all screwed. Give me those funny, hilarious, bonkers moments, and don't worry about how it impacts other formats. That's why I like the idea of UPF only. Don't worry about, this would be so busted in Blitz, so we're not going to make it. Or finding or toning down these other cards so that way you can have it in Blitz as well. Stop. Just stop. Just don't worry about it. Give me something to really enjoy this format with that I just have to go for. And use your supplemental sets for that. It's a great use of those because I'm not sure what we're trying to do with those right now. But use those. Don't put them in your core product because you damage the integrity of the core product that way. But give me some slots of just utter nonsense that would just only be in this format that make people just, I have to experience this. Give me a reason to have 5, 6, 7, 8 decks that I'm just trying to do something weird with each one that I have to play UPF with. That would be great. That's what I would love to see. Not this, we got to make it work with everything, kind of just very hit or miss, lackluster stuff that just doesn't really seem interesting outside of a normal game unless you already have the people there that would have made this experience fun without this product. Gregorian Tome put out a phenomenal video that compared Flesh and Blood to a fighting game, and I can't help but think of when you want to play a fighting game but you want to laugh and have just people there where you're just having a great time. It's Super Smash Brothers. It's chaos. It is, you have no clue what's going to happen, and that's amazing. That's so much fun. To put it in James White speak, it's like in a wrestling match with a 4-player free-for-all, right? Nobody really gives 2 shits about the skill of the players when there's a folding chair by the mat.